Thank you.
I'm Kate.
You can't just every time.
Hey, I'm Kate.
I need a minute.
I know. I'm sorry.
I'm Kate.
It's okay. You just walked in.
We gotta have the millennial pause.
Yes. Okay, now go.
Hey, I'm Kate.
And I'm Rachel.
And I'm Hannah.
And this is
Feast.
Sheath.
And Shatter.
Is it hot in here or is it just me tuning in to hear these three chatting about fantasy novels of the spicy variety? Not your average book club, if you know what I mean. Are you happy to see us? Or is that a dagger? It's Feast, Sheath, Shatter.
Got it.
Yeah,
Just need a minute. Just a minute.
I've been reading a lot of books lately. Duh. I mean, that's what as one does. And I swear every time Feast, Sheath, or Shatter is in these books, which they're in all of the books all the time, I chuckle. I giggle.
You're like, that's me.
That's us.
That's us.
It's just so funny because, like, we're in on the joke. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I shared the podcast with some friends of mine from high school the other day. And this particular friend, she's one of my friends that I've traveled a lot of places with. But she's also very different from me. And she goes, "You do a podcast about what?" And then I told her the name, and she just looked at me and she was like, "I'm sorry." And then I told her about Morning Glory Milking Farm. And she was like speechless.
Yeah.
And our other friend that we travel with was there too, and they just both looked at each other and they were just like, I don't know what to make of this.
Yeah, I mean, when you get deep enough into it, you forget that like
Other
other people
people-
are like, you read about other people having sex, but like, yeah, lots of people do
You
it.
read about
fine.
minotaurs.
Yeah, I'm not telling
You
anybody
read
about that.
Interspecies
I'm
connection.
keeping that one to myself.
And that one was the coziest book you ever read.
the coziest.
The coziest.
Right. I mean, it's hard enough. I mean, there's so many jokes on the internet about telling people that you love ACOTAR or Sarah J. Maas or vampires or anything and trying to get them on the same page as you. It isn't easy.
No.
No.
It's like a litmus test. It's like, yeah, so I like this thing. And then you just wait. Like, are we still friends?
This was...
Can we still be friends?
Liz said, "Do you get paid?" And I was like, oh, that judgmental ass. She's a sweet... She's sweet. And we're like siblings. Like, we pick on each other. But it was so funny. I was just like, this is what it would be like if this world knew about this thing. And I was like, it's fine. It's good. It's good.
Yeah. It's fine. It's a hobby.
I'm going to send her a couple...
hobbies.
Yeah. And I'm going to send her a couple... but like, it was like the validation thing. Oh, you don't get paid to do it? Then it isn't a real thing. And I was just like, Liz, you have no idea how invalidating that one statement was, which was, you know, some people do, some people don't.
Yeah, that's okay. Some people understand the idea of doing a thing because you love to do the thing. And some people are like, but you're not getting paid to do the thing. So what's the point? Mm-hmm. Like, well,
because it's fun and it gives me joy. And it's
like
the only thing I look forward to.
Right.
Yeah. I talked to 2 people about it last night that totally got it.
Cool.
Nice.
They were like,
I like
how
your hoops.
fun.
I'm sorry I didn't get that.
I
Like
need
my
to
hoop-
give you some of my
hoops.
cards so you can hand out.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're
Cards.
cute, the little
Are they
size
are they
cards.
are they the one pod on both sides, or are they pod 1 on one side and pod 2 on the other?
It's the same front and then different backs.
Okay, great. So it advertises both.
Yeah.
Oh, that's perfect. That's what
Yeah.
I want.
Yeah.
Because then they have options.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
So you
not
can be
everybody,
I tell people
You can be
about
like,
both.
Feast Sheath for Shatter, not for you. But
not
here's,
necessarily for
here's
you.
this one.
Here's this
Yeah.
one.
You might like this one.
Yeah, and the link is to the website. So it
Nice.
just takes you to the website. You can find
That's
it off
awesome.
of there.
I'm
Yeah.
going to put them on people's cars while I'm walking around. Just kidding. I'm just going to leave them at coffee shops. Like a little stack.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tiny little stacks.
So we read Legendborn. We being me. Read Legendborn. I had the benefit of having been on a cruise, and I sat in an airport for like 7 hours. And so I just read the entire time I was there.
Wait. How many books did you read on your cruise?
Tell us how many.
6.
Yes. So we did some
Yes.
we did some analytics, and it turns out that if you were to read as fast as Rachel reads, you would be listening to an Audible book at 2.35. That's how fast her brain is processing. Because when you see an images and you're not subvocalizing,
Yeah.
then you're just
taking in
You're
the
just a
information.
movie reel.
Yeah.
That's why you absorb it so much better. It's a gift.
Thank you.
It is
Welcome.
a superhero power.
It is. Yeah.
I'm super jealous.
Me
I did
too.
not know that's not the way that everybody experienced it until we started this podcast. So it's really nice to know that
That's fun.
there's
Yeah.
lots of different perspectives on reading.
And a
too.
lot of different ways that our brains work. Like you can see images. You have a mind's a view in your mind's eye. I think we've talked about that 100 times because I'm obsessed with that. Because I do not. I do not. I cannot see an image. I can think about it. I have a memory of it. I know what it looks like, but I do not see something in my mind.
I can't imagine what that would be like.
I don't understand that at all.
I don't
Well, I
understand.
think we're every bit of the spectrum. I think we're no images and then a mix of the two. And then like I only think in pictures. So
Right.
I'm always translating concepts into words.
So here's an example. I was thinking about it as I was reading the other day. I never have a picture of characters in my mind.
Yeah. That is so. That's why you love fan art so much.
Yeah. I don't have a picture of them. I have an idea of their personality. I have their tone, their voice,
how they feel
Their
in my
concept.
head. But I don't have, like, I was trying to picture. If you don't paint the picture for me, I don't come up with one. And I enjoy the story just as much.
Yeah.
But I'll try and like think of. I never have someone in my head. I have to like find someone else that I think they might look like, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, I got Rachel this amazing coloring book.
It's still on the shelf. It's right up there.
If you want to just get some ideas
Yeah.
for Throne of Glass characters.
Well, those I have because of the fan art.
Yeah.
That's why I love the physical.
And
Like,
that may
looking
be
at it.
why you didn't connect with this book very well. Because if you're trying to hold all the concepts for this book in your head,
It's a lot.
impossible. The only way I could make it through was after a while, I just had to like not try to remember everything. Just every time we got to like, this person's a this and this person's a that, and they're this to this person, and then this person is this. It got really complicated. Like this is
Yeah.
almost needlessly complicated.
Sure.
Legendborn. God, my like
Born.
I have to born the end of it. So I read Legendborn. It's set in our state, which is why I picked it.
And at Chapel Hill.
At a college we have all at least visited.
I've peed under trees on Halloween at this college.
Close connection.
Close
Got
connection.
it.
I have been in fraternity houses on this campus.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's 20 minutes from where I went to school.
Yeah. So
You
I
know,
thought, oh, this will
so
be cool. It
I
would
had
not,
a lot of friends that went to Carolina.
not a
Yeah.
lot of people
My mom went to Carolina.
put
Yeah.
stuff in our state. It's
Right.
just not
It's
a
exciting.
so it was exciting. Like, oh, okay, cool. Somebody like some North Carolina representation.
And a fantasy book.
Yeah, and a fantasy book, like an urban fantasy. I was not expecting this to be Arthurian legend urban fantasy,
Did not see that coming.
and yet
It was
it was.
interesting.
And I think that's where a lot of the complexity comes, because we have to have all of these characters to have every knight of the round table. And then she threw in a lot of medieval knight terminology, which if you were super familiar with it, you're like, yeah, obviously that's what that is. But if you're not, you're like, I don't fucking remember what a page is, or a
Oh,
vassal, or a squire, or a whatever. And so I had to keep calling that up every time. Like, okay, so wait, now if they're that, then that means that they're this. And then, okay, I don't want to start out complaining about it. Let me tell you about the story.
Yeah.
So we have Brianna Matthews. Brianna or Bree or B. Everybody had at least one nickname. And she and her friend Alice are attending early college at UNC Chapel Hill. And they are going to this college kind of against her mother's wishes, but it doesn't matter anymore because her mother dies just before the story begins. So when we pick up Brianna, I think it's been 3 months since her mom died in a hit and run accident. And she is at this college. Her mom wouldn't want her there, but it doesn't matter. So she's here now. Her dad decided it was best for her to just go because she was feeling stifled at home. And so we open with them like at the quarry, at the Eno quarry, getting ready to jump off.
Sure.
Which I've been there. Would
Yeah,
never
the
do
Eno
that.
River, yeah.
Yeah. And this thing happens where she sees this creature get killed by this guy named Selwyn Kane and Victoria Tor Morgan, who I don't think we actually introduced her at the very beginning, but she immediately starts calling her Tor. So I was like, hang on, who's Tor? Who was Tor? And she gets picked up by the police and taken back. And then she ends up in trouble and she has to have a on-campus mentor who is only a year older than her. She's 16. He's 17. And this is Nick Davis. And while they're walking around together, she ends up seeing this same type of creature energy again. So she runs after it, and it turns out it's a hellhound. And so he like pulls a pen out of his pocket and turns it into a sword or something and defeats the hellhound. And in the middle of it, her arms like get melted. So she gets taken to this building and healed. And then they're like, okay, forget all of that happened and go back to your life. Okay. And she's like, no. And so really Brianna pushes this story forward just by never letting anybody tell her that what she's doing is really the like worst possible choice she could make. She's like, I hear what you're saying, but I'm going to do it anyway. So she ends up figuring out where this place is, which it's the lodge. And then she finds out that Nick is like a former member of the order. And I love how they're all like tortured by their pasts and they're 17. Like, what past are you tortured
You
by?
don't have a past.
Middle school? I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, middle school is a
It is.
traumatizing
It is.
experience.
That's fair.
Like universally.
right. But
Across the board.
He has walked away from the order and we don't know why. And she ends up forcing him back into the order. She's like, you're my ticket in, so you're getting me in. Because she thinks that this group had something to do with her mother's death. And so she's trying to figure out what they had to do with it. So she needs to get in to figure it out. And it turns out he is not just a member of the order. He's like really high up in the order because he is the scion of Arthur. And then we find out that there are 13 scions, and they are all scions of the various members of the Round Table. And what that means is a long time ago.
So was the pencil Excalibur?
No. Excalibur doesn't show up till the very end of the book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's not Arthur yet, but he has the potential to be Arthur because he is descended from Arthur. So there's 13 of the scions.
Is scion could be air?
Yeah,
Okay. Same concept?
same concept.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like magic air?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Power air.
Scion shows up a lot. Like I am the scion of whatever. So I'm
Sure.
the like.
It's like a very epic version of air.
Yeah. My ancestor was Arthur, like a
Yes.
long time ago. And Merlin, the original Merlin, bound their life force to their bloodline. So at any point, if they're needed, they can like pop back up in their own bloodline and give their descendants their powers and abilities. And there's 13 of them, and they get called. They have to be called, and you have to be called between the ages of 16 and 22. And if you make it past 22, like you're done, you're put out to pasture. You don't get to be a scion anymore because you're not going to be called now. And the lower ranking ones get called all the time. Like the 13th one gets called pretty much every lifetime. But you don't get up to the like Arthur until we get to their like end game, which they call Camlin. Anyway, it gets really complicated. What it boils down to is there's these things called Shadowborn. Everybody's something born. There's Shadowborn, Onceborn, Legendborn, and the Shadowborn are like demons, and they're coming through these portals, and it's happening more frequently. And so they're getting like this annual thing where they get these, you get to be a page, and you're only a page if you are from a family that is also a vassal, but the vassals are not scions. They're just families that are pledged to serve the order. And their children are generally put in as pages. And if you're a page, then you serve a particular scion and you have to go through this whole tournament thing. And if you win the tournament thing, you might get the chance to be a squire. And if you get to be a squire, then you actually get bonded with your scion. And then if your scion gets called, you get powers and abilities with them.
That's the part that I really was thrown off about. So Bree is going to compete in this tournament,
right?
For a chance to be a page.
No, she is a page. So Nick makes her his page.
Okay,
makes her a page and enters her into the tournament in an effort to get her in so that she can find out how they are involved in her mom's death. And she has to go through the whole tournament because that's all part of like working her way deeper into the organization. And in the meantime, Selwyn or Sel is our like shadow daddy kind of guy. He's like our dark love interest. Broody.
Morley Gray.
he's hot.
Yeah, he's part Shadowborn.
He's attractive.
He's giving Reese Sand vibes.
If I just mentally
Rysand.
If I just mentally age them up to like 22,
I
sure,
know.
he's hot. When he's 17, I'm like,
No.
Nope.
can't.
I just cannot follow the whole 16, 17 line.
So that might have been,
hard.
that's something we need to be really considerate of as we're choosing books.
Yeah, I think next time we
Because
need to make sure we don't.
we
pick
have way
YA.
too many adult conversations.
I just didn't think. I don't know why I didn't think this was YA. I think because of the length.
I
Because-
didn't know it was YA.
And then as soon as it was like she's 16, I was like, oh no, this is YA.
no.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
I didn't know it was YA.
And a lot happens. People get hurt. A bunch of people die. And then at the very end, a whole bunch of people die. And then we find out through the course of everything that actually Brianna is the scion of Arthur.
I was about to say, I see Arthur in the parentheses.
Yes. And that Nick
Is that why her
actually
mom got killed?
Lancelot. No, it turns out her mom just died in a hit and run.
What?
Yep.
That her mom's death isn't
No.
related?
Not related at all.
No.
Just sometimes bad things happen to good people.
As someone who has gotten 3/4 of the way through this book,
Yep.
I am furious to hear this.
Yep. Okay, so there's more. I mean, it kind of makes sense by the time
Maybe
you get
in the
there.
second book you put it together.
No, she finds out, nope, sorry, not a thing. Because what happens is Nick's dad.
That's an interesting story choice.
Yeah.
I
'Cause
wonder. I mean, it makes a good point.
Her mom
It's
is
like-
involved because we find out her mom could use magic. Because Brianna herself is black. She's a person of color. Her mom is and her dad is as well. And they use a different type of magic, or they use magic differently. So magic just exists in the universe. It's called ether.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't call it ether. They call it root. And they use what's called rootcraft.
Mm-hmm.
And they borrow magic from their ancestors. So like if you want to do something, you ask for your ancestors to help you do
support you, sponsor your magic.
Sponsor your magic.
Mm-hmm.
And then you do it. And then when you're done, you give it back. And they can do stuff like mediums. They can time walk. They can do all these different things through rootcraft that they can't do with what she calls colonizer magic, which this was actually, the magic system was the most interesting part because like the order, the people in the order, they use what's called bloodcraft, where they bind the magic to their blood. So they take the magic and they keep it and they don't give it back. And so there's like a toll for that. So all of the scions die at like 35.
Oh, wow.
That's what they get.
That's what they get. And she's like,
That's
because
what they get for not giving it back.
they're like, it's colonizer magic. They take it and they don't give it back. They just like,
How
they're
is Nick's dad?
parasitic. Well, if you're called, you die at 35. If you're not called, you don't die at 35.
So our main character's gonna not die. She's gonna not make it,
Well, I don't know.
or is she gonna learn how to re-harness the magic system?
I'm sure we'll figure out a way to
to
give
give it back.
Yeah. They call it the abatement.
I mean, it's kind of like balance and not balance.
right.
It's a very common.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so she actually goes on this dream walk with one of her ancestors. And so she finds out that Nick's ancestor, who they thought was Arthur's scion, had his way with one of her ancestors who was a slave at the time. And she ran off because they will not allow children born outside the like prescribed coupling because they have to track who's related to who. And so it turns out that she is the descendant of Arthur because his ancestor like raped her ancestor.
Interesting.
And then the baby's like got swapped. Well, and then she was having an affair with the Lancelot scion. And so she passed off the baby with the Lancelot scion as it's a lot. By the end of it, you're like, okay, sure. Because they have a big showdown around Excalibur, which it turns out is under the bell tower at Chapel Hill. And so she pulls Excalibur out of the stone and she's like, that's because I'm Arthur, bitch. And then she just kills everybody in all the bad guys at the very end.
That's a cool ending.
It was a pretty cool ending.
Can I ask what became of her sweet little friend that she came to early college with?
Alice finally gets to learn everything that's happening. And
Oh,
so she
good.
gets to be a part of it. So Alice finally.
Is she
She's-
Guinevere?
No. Not yet. Maybe in the second one.
Is she what was the guy that slayed the green dragon?
George? Like
George.
St. George and the Dragon?
Maybe.
I don't know.
I don't remember. I'm not as in tune to Arthurian
I
legend
don't
as I should be.
normally. I don't really follow. Usually, to me, it's one of those archetypal stories that I'm like, okay, it's fine. Do I really need to learn it? Like, it's fine.
They're not dark enough.
Maybe a dark retelling. I would
Yeah.
watch. Yeah.
Maybe if they were vampires.
I watched the miniseries from Sci-Fi with Sam Neill, and that's about as close as it gets. The Merlin one, where he was Merlin.
Sam Neill, from Jurassic Park.
Yes, he's
Okay.
Merlin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's about as my knowledge goes. That's it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I think that what she was trying to do was really interesting. I just think it becomes so complex that like 3/4 of the way through, you just check out. You're like, okay, sure. That's what's happening next. You know what? Cool. That's fine.
And especially, this is YA.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is YA.
You
So-
think 16-year-olds are following this?
I think this is all making sense as to why I wasn't able to connect with the Audible and why I needed to see it, the physical copy of it.
Yeah.
And I didn't have the physical copy of it. I probably would have benefited from that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, upon that and other busy stuff. So
Yeah.
love listening to the story though. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome. And I think that her as a character is she's a really interesting character, and she meets a lot of other, like she goes into therapy at a certain point because she's really not handling her mom's death very well. And
And
her,
she knows that at 16, which is really nice.
yeah. And well, her dad
Well,
gets
she
it
was
for her and
forced.
forces
Okay.
her to do it. Yeah. But he actually finds another Black therapist. He's like, maybe you can open up better with somebody and you can find a community of like people. And she does. This is where she learns rootcraft and
With the therapist?
to see
Oh,
this
nice.
perspective of like a person of color writing a character of color, interacting with other characters of color. You're like, okay, thank you. Like that was so enlightening for me as someone. I can't be in that position.
Right.
I'm going to be a white lady forever. But to be able to see that through her eyes written by her was really, really like, I really enjoyed that aspect of the story a lot. Like there's a part where they're going to get ready.
It's interesting to see fantasy
yeah.
like fiction
Yeah.
from that in that perspective.
Yeah.
And what that looks like in a fantasy world.
Right.
That's yeah.
Yeah. And there's a part where they're going to get ready. So they're like, oh, and your hair. So they like squeeze her puff because she always has her hair up in a puff. And she's like, no, like you don't get to touch my
Yes.
hair.
Wait, who touches her hair?
One of her,
Just
like
some
just,
girls at the bar.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, they're at a bar.
Yeah.
Why? That's like
Because these characters needed to be 18.
uh
This really feels like I didn't write this story, obviously, but my main criticism for this story is just why are they 16? There is, if we
they
just,
don't have to be 16
they
at
don't
Carolina.
have to be, you could have made them freshmen.
in college, adults.
Yeah.
Voter age.
Yeah. They could have,
They could have smoked cigarettes.
there's nothing
not-
that
that's
changes
gross.
story-wise if you just age them up 2 years, except
They're adults.
they're adults and you can connect better with the story. It's a better story if they're just a little bit older.
Sure.
I don't believe a 16-year-old is mature enough to do a lot of the things that she does in this story.
Mhm.
She's supposed to be really intelligent, and she is a very smart character, but I just don't believe a 16-year-old is going to do what she does.
Yeah.
not even me as a 16-year-old would be able to problem solve the way that this girl problem solves. Because she's like, okay, I was in a house. The house was old. It had ivy on it. I couldn't see any building tops. So it's probably out far enough that there's nothing there. So I need to look for buildings on the campus that have at least this much distance around the building.
Yeah.
And like, then she walks building to building to try to figure it out. And it's like, no, when is she going to school for one?
Right. She's
'Cause
missed all her classes.
yeah. I don't know. I feel like
Yeah, that's an interesting choice. I wonder, I'd love to read the author's perspective on why she chose that age.
yeah.
It's always fascinating to me when people choose to write young kids,
Yeah.
like young adults.
In a mature story, because she falls in love with Nick, and we get a lot of like, are they going to moments where
Right.
he's like, meet me in my room. Everyone's gone to bed. We can like hang out in my room.
Yep.
And there's a lot of tension, like sexual tension between these characters who are 16 and 17.
And that is pretty normal for that age.
But I
it
don't
does
want to read. Like,
but
yeah,
it
I
does
don't
feel
like
it. We are not programmed to be comfortable as adults reading about children having sex.
yeah.
I don't want that.
I ended up skimming through all the kiss scenes. I was like, no, I can't right now.
Yeah.
Not right now. This time of my life.
Yeah.
I'm on a
It's
cruise.
not a moment I can have this right now. And then I did like Cell as a character. He's really interesting. He's kind of our tortured heart
Who's
of
her
gold.
boyfriend?
Her boyfriend is kind of Nick.
So she likes Lancelot,
Well, she likes him. She thinks he's Arthur for a really long time.
but she's Arthur.
But she is.
Yeah,
which
everyone
we don't
thinks
find out
that
till the
Nick
very end.
is going to be Arthur.
And the whole point of the story is Nick's dad is trying to force Nick into being Arthur. Like he's trying to get him called to be Arthur.
Who's the Morgan?
So the Morganes are
Morgana.
like, they're the ones that leave. Like you have to be oathed. So like characters like Selwyn.
Oh, they do have Morgans. Okay, I was literally pulling that from my brain.
Oh,
I was like, who
Nice.
is Morgana?
good job.
Like pulling from
job.
Arthurian legend, and there's the word.
They're not a lot in this one, so I'm imagining they're going to be a lot in the second one. They're kind of the red herring because we think that they're the ones that are calling all these Shadowborn. But it turns out that it's actually Nick's dad.
Nick's dad's bad boy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because like
I
Selwyn
can
is
see that.
part Shadowborn. Like all Merlins are part Shadowborn. It allows them to use magic just like without natively, I guess. But they're also like unpredictable because they're part demon. And so they have to be oathed. So they have to be like, it's kind of like in the Wheel of Time when they have to swear the oath on the oath rod to like force them. They can't do it, like physically they cannot disobey their oaths.
Sure.
It's the same thing. And the Morganes are just Merlins that leave before they take the oath. And they kind of band together to fight the order. Yeah.
So when she is with her therapist and her therapist finds out that she's been hanging out with the order, she's like horrified, right?
Yeah.
She's very concerned. Whatever happened, like it was kind of like you need to stay away from them. And then she just goes straight to the bar with all of them.
Right. And then eventually she's like, no, I can't leave. I'm pretty sure they killed my mom. Let me outline my entire plan for revenge to you. And then she brings in another lady who's a medium. And she tells them all about it. And they're like, yeah, we do not support that at all, but we can't stop you. So just be safe. 16-year-old
She's 16.
over whom we have no. But the therapist would be a mandated reporter. So if she thinks she's putting herself in danger, theoretically, she should make up something and tell her dad as like I'm pretty sure because she could die. Like in the page thing, she could die. And yet she's doing it anyway. And the medium, it turns out she's kind of a medium too, because at a certain point she calls up her grandmother. And her grandmother like hangs out in her for like maybe 2 or 3
In the
chapters.
therapist or in Bree?
In Bree.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. So that's actually kind of funny because
It's
her
just nice to
grandmother
spend
like
some time with your grandma, you know?
she offers like opinion on people when they're talking to her, and she's like, "Shh, Grandma, I'm trying to have a conversation," and she's like, "That man does not look nice."
I love that.
And I was like, okay, this is really cute.
Yeah.
And she's there because she's using her root magic to like call their ancestor. Because we find out her bloodline is cursed. And so we have to find out Bree's blood. And so they're like, what happened? Like, why am I cursed? And so they have to call the ancestor that remembers. And so finally she shows up and she's like, let me break it down. And it's because she's the one that had the daughter that she didn't want to have, but she wanted the daughter. And she knew they were going to try to kill her. So she asked for the ancestors to protect her daughter no matter what. And give her the sight to see what was happening. So that's why she can see ether and nobody else can. And like the strength to remember no matter what they try to make her forget. So that's why like they have kind of
they try and blink it out of her, but she can't.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
And so all of those are actually tied into this curse, which wasn't a curse. It was like a blessing. And the trade-off is only one daughter can live at the same time. So when her mother had a daughter, her mother was never going to live past like a certain amount of time. Like they always have a short amount of time with their daughters. So yes, the order didn't kill her, but the curse kills the mom. So like the mom knew
that makes more sense.
They didn't have a lot of time together.
Okay.
I mean, okay.
Yeah.
That makes, yeah.
Yeah, like we'll protect your daughter, but you can't. Like
you're not going to have much time together.
Right.
Right. So your bloodline will continue, but there can't be too many of you at one time.
Right.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. That's a big.
So that's why she never met her grandmother.
Yeah.
Because when she was talking to her therapist, she's like, "You never met your grandmother?"
Yeah. She's like, "How come you guys never overlap? Like your mom didn't meet her grandmother, your grandmother didn't meet her grandmother. Like what happened?"
And she like has a whole panic attack about it.
Runs off.
So does she? If Bree has a baby, will Bree die?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But isn't Bree going to die anyway?
She's gonna die
before 35.
I don't know. I'll have to read the next one.
Yeah.
Blood marked.
You'll have to read it.
I was going to say, so you want to read the second one?
And I think we could still talk about it. It's fine because we can figure out where it's going. And then, then we'll get back to something everybody clicks with. I mean, it happens. When you have a book club and you propose a book, it's totally okay for somebody to not click with the book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I was just reading this on my own, I'm not sure I would have finished it. Because it's so complicated. And it gets like the exposition at the beginning was like somebody took all of the exposition from the entirety of the Throne of Glass series and just pulled it all out and dumped it in a single book. It was so much exposition. It was like, okay, sit down, take some notes. Here's a textbook about the lore I'm about to write this book about. Mm-hmm. And it was so much. And I had to just be like, nope, I'm not going to remember it all. It's okay.
Right.
Yeah. They're going to repeat it enough times. I might get it. I might not get it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right. Instead of it just being more organic and coming up during the story.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. And then not only that, but the fact that she gives everybody nicknames, at least one nickname. And then like Nick will be referred to as Nicholas, Nick, Scion of Arthur, Scion Davis. Each character has at least 5 names they get referred to by. And so there's one part where there's like 11 active characters in a single paragraph. And each character gets like a single sentence about what they're doing. And then they are all referred to alternatively as different names, different nicknames, and then different relationships to each other. And after a while, you're like, I've got nothing. And then we have a non-binary character, which is fabulous, except we're using they for their pronouns, which normally I'm totally okay with.
Except for there's 11 characters.
Except when you have 11 characters
in this scene. Yeah.
And
it doesn't do the job it's supposed to, which is point to the non-binary character.
Yeah. Right.
Which is why
I feel like you need like a chart and the red string going from.
Yeah, you really almost need, like I had to look up at the wiki to get all the characters, and the wiki character sheet is like 20 pages long, and it's all in like alphabetical order. So it's like, okay, let me break it down by like, here's all of these. And I didn't even, because that's not even I could have had 2 boards because there's also
I have a second board. I could bring it.
there's the 13 scions, and then every scion has a page that's 26 characters.
That are all named?
Yes. And then a lot of the pages have parents who are vassals who we also meet. And then we have the scions' parents. And then we have existing like lieges who are scions and squires who have aged out of being called.
Wow.
Are all these people at the Chapel Hill campus, or are they at different
Or
campuses?
they just live in like
This
Orange
is
County?
one
Maybe some of
chunk.
them are down the street at Duke because Duke's only 5 miles away.
This is like the Chapel Hill chapter. And then there's a whole bunch of other chapters where they all have 13 scions, 13.
Does Duke have a chapter?
Does State have one? My alumni.
No
My alma
idea.
mater.
You'll have to ask.
20
about
minutes down the
UNCG?
road.
Ask the author.
I don't know that school.
It's just like,
Go Pack.
oh. So
That's
much.
great though. So close to home.
Thank you for reading that,
Oh,
Rachel.
you're welcome. I'll read the next one, and I'll tell you guys.
And I
about
might
it.
be able to read the next one too. I'm not obsessively reading another book right now. So.
Yeah.
I definitely want the Kindle, though.
Me too. Maybe I can get it on Libby.
Yeah,
Did
I checked it out.
Did I put it
I
on
checked
Libby?
it out on Libby.
You did?
Yeah.
Let me see if I can get it. I think I put my name on a list for it. Maybe I got it. Not that we have to sit here and... Yeah, I think I would do much better reading this
I think
book.
this is one of those books you have to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because if I was trying to listen to all this, it would be like.
That's-
And that's what it
what it
sounded.
was.
That's what it sounded like.
I was zoning
yeah.
out
It's like-
every other minute.
Oh, I read a paragraph to Matt. It was like, I just need you to experience this with me. And it was right
What's
in
your
the section
best
where
friend,
we have
fated mate?
so many.
I love how close and connected y'all are. No, I mean, I really do appreciate it, but...
You didn't do our fated mate point or whatever.
Oh my, your vortex.
Yeah.
I need to look it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We'll do that at dinner.
All right. But I thought this
I
was
bet you have it. If you have it, I'm going to freak out and turn the table upside down.
Yeah.
just walk off.
I'm going to trash the restaurant and storm out.
Is she okay? She's just,
fine.
It's astrology.
Yeah.
She's
fine.
excited. Her pseudoscience was just proven.
Yeah. But I think this was a good thing for us to talk about because I think in like the book talk, bookstagram community, you get this like, if you don't connect with a book, there's something wrong with you.
That's how you felt about Sarah J. Maas.
And it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean to call you out about
No,
that.
that's fine. I finished all of the Sarah
You
J. Maas
did.
books because I know I can do that.
And because you have
a
a moving film in your brain, and I think that makes you stronger.
Well, I know that any book is just like a day and a half commitment. So it doesn't, to me, it's not like I'm giving up a week for this.
And this woman has 2 children. Like her full-time job is her kids and then the podcast. Like, it's incredible
Day and
how
a half.
fast.
I can't even
She
think
cleared
about
Crescents. Okay, first
what
of all,
book I'm gonna
can
read
I'm
in a day and a half.
I'm gonna talk about a thing. I
Okay.
cannot stop thinking about
I
this.
know. I'm so
Rachel, okay, so we are reading Crescent City 1 and 2 in January, which is my
Yes.
birthday month.
birthday month.
And then it comes out, and we're going to cover it. Our first book in February will be the new release.
Yes.
And I love that. Is my favorite book series. And Rachel read Crescent City while she was on the cruise. And when she told me that, I almost teared up because I was like,
moment.
you know Lahaba?
You know her?
I didn't know. I needed to know that you were experiencing it for the first time. And
Yeah, we weren't able to
But
think about you while you were reading it.
yeah, I needed to be. It's okay. You don't have to.
You were in a
really
different
apologize.
time zone.
I was like, I
She
have
was-
a minute. I know this is long. If December's crazy, at least I'll have cleared the first one and then I can read the second
She
one.
read that motherfucking book in 12 hours. It is
It takes me a week and a half.
hour Audible book.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I was on a cruise.
I know.
You were on a
I
cruise.
I would love to be sitting by a pool reading that book for the first time on a cruise ship. I mean, talk about an experience.
You had
But
an
that
experience.
is not even the highlight. That is not the part that brings me fucking joy. It's you saying in a text message, I have it in writing, the ending was pretty badass.
Yes. I'm stitching that on a pillow.
It was
That
pretty-
is your
it was
Christmas
good.
present.
It was
It's
good. The ending, I was like,
It
okay,
is,
that was
and
good.
once you have read, like you can tell it's a lot. There's a lot, but once you get to that series, you can go, oh, this is adult Sarah J. Maas writing this.
Yes.
It is different than ACOTAR and Throne of Glass.
Right.
It is like I'm in my 30s now
Right.
writing this story.
Right.
And that shines through for me, and I love it so much. And people always have their one. You know, there's a lot of Throne of Glass girls out there. There's a lot of ACOTAR girls. But I'm a Crescent City girl, and I actually have some requests about January that we'll talk about at dinner.
Okay.
But I cannot stop thinking about you saying it was badass, because to me that's like a genuine compliment.
It kind of felt like Martha J. Wells writes fantasy, and like Murderbot is a hit every single time. I always love Murderbot, but her fantasy is okay. It's middling. It's not my favorite. She throws too many characters in there. It's a lot. I'm not sure that Sarah J. Maas's wheelhouse is not the type of fantasy she writes in Crescent City, because it's far more micro. We're not working with armies. We're not working with these huge political entities. It's like, here's a girl who had a best friend that she cared a lot about.
She does well, and she grew up in New York.
Right.
She's a New Yorker.
Yeah.
But
So
she's-
that lifestyle, like you could see
Metro.
her putting all of those elements that she really relates to in the story.
Yeah, and she shines best when she has the time to just sit with a character. That's why, like, A Court of Thorns and Roses is probably the best book for me in the ACOTAR series, not with Feyre in it, because
Girl,
she just...
you better take
Silver
out.
Flames!
Don't talk about Silver Flames like that.
I qualified for you.
We don't talk about Nesta and Cassian like that.
And Silver Flames is really good because look at how many characters we're working with. We're working with like 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's it. We're not trying to move whole armies. Once she gets to like big scale, she's fine, but she's not as comfortable
It's
there
not her superpower.
as she is with like a character.
Because that's not where her
2
storytelling
characters.
shines.
Right.
Her storytelling shines in the character development and the
her
relationships.
emotional
Yes.
depth.
Yeah. And her ability.
Just
I
got
mean,
chills.
she loves an emotional gut punch.
Yeah.
I also love that.
I do.
I want to be tormented
I wanna be punched.
emotionally,
In the gut.
tragically, and chaotically. I need that in my life.
And she tries for that at the end of Wings and Ruin, but she's trying for it with like huge scale armies.
Bunch
Sure.
of ships.
So she's
Well,
like,
and not to get too much into this because we'll do it later, but I think the way the endings are the same like length, right? We get like, what do we call it? We call the
multiple
gasms.
endgasms. Yeah.
Like just ending after ending. For me, the Crescent Sitting ending, I'm like, oh, amazing. Even more amazing.
Yes.
The most
Yes.
amazing.
Yeah.
I fucking love it. Like, it just gets like one after another. While in Wings and Ruin, it's just like, oh, that's weird. Oh,
Yeah.
now
Oh,
we're
another
here.
one?
Now I'm sobbing.
Oh,
Oh,
another
God, I'm
one.
sobbing again. Wait, are we sobbing? Or, you know,
Yeah.
it felt as like disjointed.
it does feel disjointed.
Or like maybe it wasn't the best use of endings. Like I've seen some other like takes on what would have been a really cool thing to do that would have had the emotional punching as the ending of Crescent City. But I'm so glad that you liked it enough to give it a compliment. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
But after reading Legendborn, there wasn't that much exposition in Crescent City.
Oh,
So
right. Wow. Because there is the first 100 pages of Crescent City.
yeah,
It's just a shift.
I was like, all right, okay, all right. But I mean, I just made it through Legendborn where it was like, here's another term for this. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to try and catch up for the second book.
I think it would be worthwhile to finish it
I'm
because
going to get it on Libby.
just don't try to keep it all straight. Just
Okay.
Yeah.
experience the
Okay.
story.
Well,
that's my most.
But I'm one of those. I'm such a completionist when it comes to stories that if there is something happening that I don't get or I don't understand
Yeah.
or like I'm not in on the inside joke, I get so frustrated.
I don't think that there's a book I don't think this is a book you get in one reading. I don't think you get all of the pieces.
I would have to read this book 12 times, I think.
Yeah, just experience the story. Once we kind of move through, once we get done with the tournament, and she kind of comes to this moment where she's like, I have been going about this all wrong. I have been ruining my life to try to figure out what happened to my mom, and my mom wouldn't want that. And like, I need to move on. And she really tries to like, okay, I have painted myself into a corner and I got to figure out how to get out. And once she kind of has that emotional growth, it improves significantly as a book. You're like, okay, she's finally not like literally forcing everyone into helping her like fuel this blood quest that really doesn't make a ton of sense. It's more like, okay, I am caught up in the like gravity of my own previous actions. And so I have to live through all of those consequences. And now I've made friends with these people. I can't just let them go. I really need to like stay with this and solve this whole problem. And that's when it really gets good. And unfortunately, that's like 2/3 of the way into the book. It's after the bar.
Yeah.
Because she finally decides like, I've gone too far. She's like, I have gone too far. And she finally decides to step back. And once we hit that, it's good. Because then she finally gets a relationship with like Sel. And she gets to actually like make progress on solving things. Because Sel is far more willing to help her than Nick is. I mean, Nick is helping her, but not in the way that other people can. So if you can make it to that point.
Yeah.
It's good. And
I'm
I'm
almost
interested
there.
I'm interested to see what the second book is like. Because we've now established the entire world. And she's now like
Hopefully.
the head of the order.
So it's kind of like the opposite where so often the first book in a long series starts off kind of street level.
Yeah.
And then as the books continue and the story grows, we get more and more. So we get this it's just like, I'll use Brandon Sanderson instead of Sarah J. Maas. A Way of Kings, which is, it's dense, but the world, it allows, as those books go along, the world grows and grows and grows and grows.
Yeah.
So by the time you're at that fourth book, you're like, fuck, this is a lot, but it's organically happened. So she dumps this stuff in your face right off the front, at the front end. So maybe the rest of the books can be kind of more easygoing.
Yeah.
Because she already expects you to have done the work to understand.
Right.
Yeah. That's interesting.
So we'll see. That's what I'm interested to find out.
I am glad that she is in charge now.
Yeah.
Especially after being spoken to like she was the help in the beginning. So that's fun.
Like for real?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like in
some of the
like she goes to the
moms.
order ball and they're like, okay, can you go get me something? And she's like, no, I'm at the ball with you. And they're like, aren't you the help? And she's like, no, I'm not the help. I think that may be why it's set in the South.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Because I could see that happening.
For sure.
Is the author not from Chapel Hill?
I'm not sure where she's from.
What's her name?
I kind of made a point that it feels like she's not from the South.
So you think there were parts of it that didn't feel as
it was
as
it was trying too hard to be Southern. Like you're talking about Bowberry biscuits.
I mean,
Cheerwine.
But those
Tracy
are real.
Deonn.
Those are real things.
But it's too obvious.
But not to someone not from here.
Tracy Deonn.
It's.
I mean, I love
too,
cherry lemon
like,
Sundrop.
low hanging fruit.
Yeah, or maybe just for us. I don't know.
Maybe.
See, that's hard.
Yeah.
So to me,
She went to Chapel Hill.
yeah, I was gonna say to me it felt pretty like Chapel Hill.
Yeah, it says she was raised in Central North Carolina.
Okay. Because who knows about Bowberry biscuits and Cheerwine but people from here? I
think it was just like whoop whoop, like solidarity.
Yeah, like
I know about Bojangles.
Yeah.
I know about Cheerwine. I know about all this other stuff, and it's hot and swampy, which I love because I'm like, yes, we live in
the swampy
temperate swamp. It's nasty, and she had some really interesting perspectives on some of the things on the campus, like the statues on the campus.
It's like the story she wrote in her mind when she was going through school.
Yeah, that's
and
exactly
college.
how it feels. And the same, like the impression she got. Because they go to this one where it's like.
Did they go to Timeout?
I don't know what Timeout is.
Timeout. It was that restaurant. Never mind.
Well, they go to this one, I guess it's like a monument, but it's like to the unseen builders or whatever. And it's to the slaves that helped build the campus. And so they're all like these tiny figures holding up a slab. And so she's like, yeah, so they're still working. And you're like, oh, yeah, okay. No, I get that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Like, that's really interesting because that's where she meets.
That's a real thing?
I think
on campus?
It must be on campus. It says it's in the like garden.
Okay.
I can't say I've roamed around the campus too much.
I've seen that famous thing, the circle thing that's on the medical stuff.
Okay.
You know what I mean? What do they call it? We got a bell tower. They've got a well thing. It's like a circle with columns.
Yeah. I think that's what the sword is underneath of.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
What'd you call it?
They call it a bell tower.
It's, well, they don't.
Or the tower. They just call it the tower.
It's not. It's the atrium? No. Hold on. Chapel Hells.
Tell us how you really feel. I went to none of these colleges. I don't know. I have no opinion.
Funny. Well, it's just I don't really care. It's just something you grow up thinking. You know, when you go to one school.
Yeah.
I didn't go to NC State hasn't won a national championship since I was 3 months old. And we grow up and you are in the middle of the ACC, which is this giant basketball, right?
Yeah.
Duke and Carolina are 20 minutes down the road. These powerhouse schools, we're just out here
Yeah.
doing our best.
Hanging out.
Not even counting as a rivalry anymore.
Yeah.
At one point, we were actually rivals of these schools. Not anymore.
No.
So, and then you have so many friends that you grew up with that went to Chapel Hill, and they got to go to a college who won a national championship while they were there.
My college didn't have a football team, but we had shirts that said still undefeated.
Nice. Yeah. Where'd you go to school?
UNC Pembroke.
Pembroke, Robinson County.
Oh, wow.
The most unique accent in North Carolina.
It's a actual dialect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's irreplicable.
Yeah.
And it is, I love it. Anytime I hear it, I'm like, are you from Robinson County?
Yeah.
But you got to be careful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a bigger school now than it was when I went.
Yeah. Well, I grew up in Fayetteville, so it's super close to there.
So I think this book is not a bad book. I don't want to say it's a bad book. I think the only questionable choice is the age.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think she just assumes you know a lot of stuff about King Arthur and you're going to just get it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't just get it.
This thing. This
Yeah.
is what Excalibur was under.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
What is
Yeah.
this called?
I don't know, but it's on their crest.
It is. That's why
Yeah.
it's on their symbol. And they always take their graduation pictures there.
Yeah.
What's it called? What's it called?
Like a.
No, they call it something. What do they call it in the book?
I don't remember. There's
okay, you
so
don't
much
have
to
to-
remember.
so many
There's
things.
so much to remember.
There's probably somebody.
And I didn't even tell you
There's
all
not.
of it.
But what if we had a listener that was at home screaming at
Oh,
us
there
what
might
it
be.
is?
They're like, it's that. I'm so
It's
sorry.
that.
I didn't go there.
Yeah.
I don't even like driving into Chapel Hill. When I lived in Durham, I hated driving in that direction.
Chapel Hill has a Wegmans now. So,
Oh, my gosh.
yeah.
I might go up there just for that.
Yeah. I had a.
I'm trying to hit up that buffet.
Wegmans doesn't have a.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, and really good baked goods. I had a friend. Delete that part.
Erase that.
I'll put a beep over it.
Kate
We
said
have a
something.
beep. We have a beep that we all did, and I've been saving it. I'm like, I'm gonna put this beep on something because we all went.
That was nothing explicit. Kate just stopped talking mid-sentence.
But yeah, to sum it up, I think this is a good book. I think it's worth giving a shot to try to get through it, to get to the second book. It's not the first time we've ever tried to read a series where it's like, you got to get through the first book to get to the second book.
Right.
Yeah, I know.
So
You got to get through the first 3 books, and then I
Yeah.
swear to God.
No,
Just
you
feel
know
free
what?
to look things up on the wiki as needed.
I've been
Okay.
thinking about the Hannah's. Hannah sent us a TikTok. I had seen it before. Someone sent it before. I had seen it before. This really popular comedian guy is saying, going through ACOTAR, he's finally picked it up. You know, ACOTAR is huge in pop culture now. People know it.
Yeah.
And he's saying, I don't want to have to read 2 books. I don't understand what's so good about this book. And he has some really funny points. I get it. And I'm like, I don't care. You got to read 2. You got to commit to 2. It would make sense. They need to be 1. 1 and 2 needs to be 1.
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
it should have been 1 book.
Because it doesn't, like part 1 and part 2.
I'm just
Yeah.
going to tape mine
and just
together.
longer.
Just longer.
Or, yeah, because you're right. You shouldn't have to say you have to read 2 books.
Before the series gets.
But
and
you
it's-
like
I
the
mean,
first
it happened.
book.
I did like the first book in ACOTAR.
But you're also such a healthy person that you
It took me,
were
like,
not fooled by Tamlin.
It took me like 3 books to get into Throne of Glass, though. It wasn't until
Well, and that we
Whatever the yellow
thoroughly
one is.
discussed through that.
The last
Air
one?
fire. Air fire.
no the second
It was air fire.
is it
Yeah.
Fire. The third one I was like, okay, that's all right. And then the 4th one was like, oh my god, I'm gonna die. And then we got better again.
Wait, Assassin's Blade or Queen of Shadows?
Oh, but you know what? We need to. I wanted to make this point. We need to get through Legendborn so we can talk about the ending together next time.
Okay.
Because there is a fetch my overhead projector section that is worse than
Okay.
Maeve at the end of Empire of Storms.
Wow.
Because
just a villain that goes off on
'cause
an
she-
exposition monologue.
she finally confronts him. She confronts Nick's dad, and he's like, fetch my overhead projector. I'm about to break it down. And it is like 3 chapters. It is so
Oh
long.
my
He's like,
God.
so when I was a child at Chapel Hill, he just like, he's like, starts
On the
at
day
the
I was
beginning,
born.
and he goes through the whole thing. And you're like, surely he's not going to monologue the entire thing. And you're like, oh, he fucking is.
Oh,
And
okay.
he does. He's like, let me unravel the mystery, because she's done a pretty good job of like, I think I'm giving you information, but it's not enough to like put all the pieces together.
Sure.
So you don't feel like she's withholding information, but you do know there's more going on.
yeah.
And so when we finally get the breakdown, he's like, okay, it's literally like she took her notes and was like, I'm just going to type these all up so y'all can know what's happening, except as dialogue.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
I love those parts.
I was just like, I think I was
My
on the cruise. I was
vis-a-vis.
like, man, too bad I'm not at home. I could text you guys and be like, oh my God, this is worse than Maeve. Like this is,
yeah.
he should have had like PowerPoints, charts. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's hysterical.
I love a good overhead projector part.
It is. So, he wraps it all up at the end, at least.
Yeah.
So you're going to get there. They're going to solve all the problems.
Yeah.
Kind of.
I love that.
And then we can talk about Bloodmark next time. And if you guys can't make it through the end of Legendborn and into Bloodmark, we can talk about that too. Because
No, I can do it. I'll just get it. I for some reason, my Libby is saying that they've got the audio book, but not the book. I don't know. Can you find it?
I can try to find it.
Because I don't know how
Let's
to make
find it at dinner.
Okay, yeah, that's a good idea. Thanks, Hannah. Can you
yeah.
stop what you're doing in the middle of the podcast and find this book for me?
Hungry.
So,
Oh,
I
you're
know.
hungry. Okay.
Hungry.
Yeah, my
Hungry.
stomach made a noise a minute ago.
Okay, that was great. See you later.
Oh, wait. I just wanted to say, it's
Oh.
okay. Don't. You're always jumping the gun
I know.
on me.
I'm kidding.
Because I just wanted to reassure everybody. Because I know there's somebody that's like, I can't believe that they did a book, like they did an episode on books they didn't even read. But like, yeah, that's real life.
It's
And
real life.
That's
people.
real life. And
we're
book-
not hiding anything from you.
And if
Yeah.
if you're in a book club, that happens. Sometimes you're like, life got busy and I didn't finish it. Sometimes it's like, I didn't click and I didn't finish it. Can you tell me about it? Maybe if the whole thing sounds interesting, I will be able to finish it. Like knowing where I'm going will get me pulled through the book. Or, ooh, I'm glad I didn't read that. I wouldn't have liked that ending. And that's okay. Like that's
Yeah.
perfectly fine. I think we live in this space where people are like, "Oh, I'm obsessed with books. I read them. They're my shelf trophies, whatever." And
Okay, I say that.
no, let me finish.
Okay.
And which is fine and it's great. But we've put reading on this pedestal.
It's not
Yeah.
a race. We
It's
don't
not
have to
a
read
race.
10 books.
It's not a competition.
It's
I don't
not.
have to read the better book. I don't have to read more classics. I don't have to read longer books. I don't have to read more fantasy. I don't have to pretend I'm not reading just for sex. I don't literally don't have any goals except to enjoy it.
Yeah. Amen.
Because I'm not
Here.
I'm not getting paid.
Nope. Podcast.
No one's paying us.
No one's getting
here.
paid. No one's getting paid. Yeah. Like, because that's what validates any use of time.
Yeah.
If you would like to sponsor us,
Joybird.
We aren't opposed to being paid. We're just not being paid.
Joybird.
I really love Diet Coke.
Diet Coke as a sponsor of Feast, Sheath, and Chatter would be like, I mean,
Fucking amazing.
that's
do you know
our
how,
audience,
do you know how, yeah, millennial women who drink Diet Coke.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
For this pod. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I loved looking at all your cocktails.
Oh, thank
As
you.
a person who worked in
Yes.
restaurant and was a bartender, I was like, damn, my friend kicking it over. That you did a
Yeah,
really good
it
job.
looked really
I wanted to
good.
send him to Beth and be like, Beth, look at the, because my friend was like, she's an incredible, like, she made cocktails. She's really good at it, like fancy ones. I wanted to send him over and be like, look at these. Look at these. They're so good.
Thank you.
I was proud of you.
I had a lot of fun making
Yeah,
those
they looked
up.
really pretty.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Anything you want to tell us about your cruise?
It was really relaxing.
Did you eat a lot of ice cream?
I didn't. I don't really like ice cream,
Mm.
so I didn't get a lot of ice cream.
It must go with your brain working so well.
That's it.
When your
the
IQ is
reason.
like 140.
That's why we can't read as fast. Because we're eating ice cream.
The hormones
I
from the
just don't.
dairy
I
have
mean,
affected our brain's ability.
I ate a lot of chocolate melting cake, which is the like carnival thing.
Yeah.
I just
Oh,
got
really?
fruit and put it with it.
You can get free food all the time.
Yeah.
Did you go to the casino?
I did. I spent $20 at the casino.
Can you still smoke in the casinos on board?
Yeah.
Nasty,
yeah.
right?
Oh,
They have a smoking section and a non-smoking
We're not doing that.
section.
Yeah, smoking inside is disgusting.
Yep.
No matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do a pretty good job of kind of containing it. Like if you
You don't have to agree.
they do a pretty good job of containing it. And my aunt came and she smokes, so she was excited to like
Did your aunt's hetero life mate come?
No.
Oh,
No. Just her. It was a nice break.
nice.
She got away for a little bit and she had enough, like she racked up enough casino points to get free drinks. She got like 20 free drinks a day and then she ended up getting steak.
I'm sorry. What? What was this?
Yeah, you get points in the casino. I spent
So you don't
$20.
get money? You get free drinks?
No, you get money too, but you get points for like playing. So like I spent my $20 and I got like 17 points. And by the end of it, she had like 5,400 points.
wow.
Yeah.
Did she win some money?
She gambles like that's what she does
For
recreation.
fun.
That's her hobby.
What's her game?
Just slots.
Slots. I saw a TikTok or whatever the other day, and it was like, I'm an engineer of slots. I would never play slots.
Yeah.
That's their job.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that made me sad because that's the only thing I'd want to play.
Yeah.
For sure.
Put
That's
a
what
quarter
I
in and
played.
pull the thing.
She
So
has a
fun.
whole like she usually breaks even.
Yeah. Smoke
Yeah.
cigarettes with her bucket.
Yes.
Yeah.
Love that for her.
She had a good time.
It's living that dream.
Yeah.
So did you go on any excursions?
We got off in Mazatlan and we did a thing called salsa and salsa where you made
Oh,
salsa
yeah.
and then you learned how to dance salsa.
Was that fun?
It was fun. Yeah. It was fun.
Did
we
you
made
guys
like
have a good
6
time?
salsas.
Show us
Can
how
you
to
show us
salsa?
how?
No.
Come
No,
on.
there were bottomless margaritas.
Oh.
While you were making salsa,
Got it.
she was like, no, we fill it up. It makes you better salsa dancers. And I was like, oh, okay.
Wow. So it's not just salsa and salsa. It's salsa and salsas and 10 margaritas.
Yeah,
Did you poop in the bed?
10
No.
margaritas. I'm going to poop
In
on
the
the bed.
I did fine. You
I
had to write your
know.
room number down ahead of time though, in case they needed to take you back to the post.
So
That
that's
is
happened.
hilarious.
That's happened.
Yeah,
That has happened.
Yep.
yeah.
More than once.
More
Yeah.
than once for them to do that.
We only got off at the one stop though, because I'm happier on the empty boat than I would have been. It can be stressful for Matt with something that's like an uncertain location with an uncertain exiting process with like a timeline for getting off and a timeline for getting back. That's a lot of overhead. and
Lots
so,
of crowds.
yeah, rather than be stressed, we'll just stay on the boat. And
It
so-
is stressful.
Yeah.
That is stressful.
So we did that once and that was fine. But I think if I'd asked him to do it 3 days in a row, that would have been a lot. So,
It would have been exhausting
yeah.
and not relaxing.
Right.
Yeah. You have to know how to vacation for yourself.
Right.
Yes.
You have to know what feels fun and what doesn't feel fun.
And I won
And that's what.
2 trivias. I won.
Those are trivias?
Yeah.
Holy shit. Look at those. Are those on the Instagram?
No.
I don't understand why not.
I won Supernatural TV trivia. I
Of
got.
course.
Like Sam and Dave?
Of
No,
course.
not Supernatural.
Oh,
Supernatural television shows. Like
Yeah.
any Supernatural
I was
television show.
Like Sam and Dean?
No, I got 15 out of 15 on that one. And then I got comedic horror monsters. I won that one.
Wow.
Wow. What did
I
they know you
can't-
were coming?
It was because it was the Halloween cruise.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I'm like, how? Wait, were they like,
Jeez.
you know who's going to be here this
Insanely
week?
specific.
I felt a little, the Supernatural television shows one felt a little unfair.
Yeah, you were just like,
And the comedic monster one, like the other group, like just gave up halfway through. They're like, we're just waiting for you to shout the correct answers. I was like, I'm sorry.
you don't have to make yourself small. You win where you win.
You take up space,
You
Rachel.
take up space in that room.
I even got a medal. I don't know if it's down here, but it's like Spooky Fest or
I
something.
see a medal up there.
Spooky
yeah.
fast? You won
Spooky
for
Fest.
Oh, I was like,
Frightfully.
because you won
frightfully fun. I think that's
Yeah.
what it says. Yeah.
You won spookily fast.
I only went to 2 trivia.
What kind of questions were they?
Unfair.
It is totally unfair.
The TV one was like, in the television show Buffy, what is William the Bloody better known as? Which is Spike. Spike's real name is William the Bloody.
That is so unfair.
yeah.
What were the more? Come on, more.
Oh, one of them was like,
I know
what's
you
the
remember.
name of the manor that Casper lives at?
Misselthwaite.
Oh, Whipstaff.
Bitch!
Manor.
She just said, nah. She said whipstaff.
Where did
Staff.
Misselthwaite come from?
I don't know, but it worked.
Oh, I know.
Isn't that Michael Caine's real last name?
No, it's
Postlethwaite.
it's from The
dated a
Secret
guy with
Garden. I was just watching a TikTok about
Yeah.
The Secret Garden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That I dated a guy with that last name. Weird, huh?
Yeah. One that
weird.
nobody got that I got was what's the oldest character in What We Do in the Shadows, the movie? And that's Peter. He's 8,000 years old.
Wow.
He's the one that lives.
Everyone's
He's
like,
the one
Vlad! And I was like, Peter.
because he's the one that looks the most like Nosferatu,
Yeah,
right?
he's the guy that lives in the basement.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's like Nosferatu.
Yeah.
Like the
And
psycho
so
ass
there'll be
vampire.
pictures of them all like hanging out, and he's just like in the background. I was like, yeah. I was like, Peter. I knew that one.
So wait, it was like people would shout out the answer,
Well, no, you write them all down first.
and then when they're going over them,
Yeah.
you're like, sorry. So you got 15 out of 15 each time.
Yeah. I was like, I made Matt go accept the second one because I was like, I don't want people to think I'm just here like trivia bombing everybody.
Yeah.
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 You're
Why
ruining our
not?
good time.
Why not?
Oh, no, it was
That
fun though.
is so funny.
That's hilarious.
I was like,
Why didn't you start with that
trophies.
story?
Yeah.
What? That
When I was like, what's the best thing that happened on the cruise? It took you a minute to
It
get
took
there.
you several minutes to get there.
I don't
Like
know.
the trophies above my head.
Can we talk about the trophy in the room?
Yeah. 2 of them.
Trophy.
The trophies.
Of the cruise ship, even.
the cruise
I was
ship,
like,
yeah.
what are those?
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
I can't believe I didn't notice those before.
So, was it warm on the cruise?
Yeah, it
Did
was
you do any
warm.
podcasts from the cruise?
No.
Packed up the stuff. We packed up our board.
No. No, we just hung out.
Yeah.
We pre-recorded everything, so stuff still came out, but
Yeah,
I didn't have to work
yeah.
for 2 weeks.
So, what's going on with all the movies this month?
So it's our anniversary month. This is the 1-year anniversary of having a podcast.
Neat.
Yeah, which means we must be close to
Yeah,
1 year.
probably.
So our first episode was Nosferatu,
Okay.
and I thought it'd be fun to do like a vampire theme to
Yeah.
celebrate. So we're going to do all the vampire movies that were released in 1979 because it turns out there were like 8 of them that all came out.
That's so specific.
Well, it's just like
so Rachel.
it's just odd
That
that
is
they
so
all
Yeah.
came out in 1 year.
So, is that like a well-known fact? Was that a trivia question?
It wasn't a trivia question, but I did watch Dracula 1979 with really, really young Frank Langella in it.
Okay.
And I did not
Do you know
know.
who that is, Hannah? Same.
If I pull him up, you're going to be like, oh, that guy. Hang
Okay.
on. I
Is he
want
a
to hear.
character
I want to
actor?
hear the oh, that guy.
Okay.
Oh, that guy. That was not real. That's me
Yeah,
practicing.
just wait.
Okay. Did y'all know? that my water expires. Did you know that this water is going to expire next month? This
What is
bottled
in that
water.
Oh, that guy.
Oh, yes, that gentleman.
Yes. Well, he plays Dracula in the 1979 Dracula.
Yes.
Which I guess is known for he refused to wear fangs or have blood on his face. He was like, I'm going to be like seductive and that's it. Mm-hmm. And so it's just him being hot as shit and seducing.
So he basically changed the vampire game.
Yeah.
Because I bet that is where... Because I bet after that... I mean, that might have been a turning point in
He's the
vampire.
reason we have Edward Cullen.
Correct.
Please,
Our sparkly
don't
friend.
do that. But
The skin
You
of a
have to
killer,
know where
Bella.
they come from.
that's true.
The killer. Do 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 do. Wait.
Anyway, it's a good movie. Not that movie.
It's me. I make the sound. So sometimes when we're all wheezing at the same time, I've picked up as I've re-listened to some of our podcasts because I do listen to our podcasts. They make me happy.
Like
I'm like, who keeps laughing, making this sound? And I'm like, I think it's me.
She's like, is it you or is it me?
I like called Hannah. I was like, listen to this. Is this you making this sound or me making this sound?
I know I don't wheeze. I just laugh.
Sometimes you laugh hard and you
Yeah.
get a little bit breathy.
Oh, okay. I get
breathy.
breathy.
Just
Yeah.
sometimes, but it's definitely
It's more controlled.
Go figure.
you're not quite. I'm older than both of you, so that's where the wheeze
We're
is
on
going.
the verge of
okay.
peeing our pants.
I got strong ass kegels. I didn't push a baby out my
That's
body.
true.
Yeah, I'm on the verge of
my
peeing my
pelvic floor
pants.
is
I had
intact.
3 pregnancies.
Yeah.
I win.
Yeah.
You win.
One of them was twins.
You win
Yeah.
Yeah.
another trophy.
Yeah.
If anyone's
And-
peeing around here, it's me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've only peed my pants once and it was a loss of bodily fluid from being terrified. It was a yeah, so in these books when she's like, and they peed themselves, I'm like, I know that. It was at a haunted house when I was 18 and
Wow.
you know they chase you around with a chainsaw,
Yeah.
but there's no chain on it. A guy was chasing me and I don't like being chased anyways because of the
Yeah.
anxiety. And when I fell on the ground, I peed my pants. A little bit.
I peed my pants last week just because I sneezed.
Yeah.
Just a little.
My
I
sister-in-law
love you,
refers to
Isabel.
that.
I love you, baby.
Yeah.
BB.
BB.
My sister-in-law refers to that as breaking the seal.
Yeah.
Like you sneeze and she's like, oh, I broke the seal. And she's
man.
like, I gotta go.
Breaking the seal in my world is when you drink a lot and then you finally take that first pee.
Your
and
first
then there's
pee. And
no
then you've
holding
got
it
to
back.
pee every 30 minutes.
Yep.
For the rest of the
no
night.
holding it back.
Interesting. Anyway, we watched that movie, which I think it's a good movie. I was reading
The first sexy vampire?
I was reading a critique from 1979.
I'm gonna watch it.
And it's like, it moves too fast. And I was like, oh, okay, so it moves at like modern pace. Because if you try to watch a 70s movie sometime, you're like, I could watch paint dry. Mm-hmm. And it would feel more
Sometimes
fast.
blah, blah, you should see me trying to watch like 2001. I'm like, this ain't for me. It's so slow.
So slow.
Are you going to be able to see Killers of the Flower Moon?
I don't know.
Isn't it like 3.5 hours long?
3.5 hours.
What is that?
The new
the new-
Leonardo DiCaprio, the
Is
Martin
it
Scorsese.
No, I don't. Those are man movies.
Man movies.
Man
And they
movies.
need an
And
intermission.
Leo Denardio.
Denardio.
Those are man movies.
They are movies. Those are the kind of movies that
Put that on the
they are
sticker list.
written by men,
Yeah.
directed by men. Leonardo DiCaprio.
Denardio.
He only does man movies.
Yeah.
If you look at him as a real person, he dates women that are never older than 25.
Yeah.
Correct.
Like they are. I mean, I'm honestly surprised. I know they're like art.
I don't know. I'm in a bunch of Instagram like groups, like promotion groups or whatever, and it's a bunch of film bros. And they get on me. I'm like, I can't. Sometimes I have to just like mute the chat for a while because they'll just like a circle jerk about some stupid man director. They're all like, oh yeah, he just makes like the best movies. And I'm like, oh my god, they're so peak. They're so like they're fire, man.
Like,
and I'm just
oh my
like,
God, have you
can't.
have you like seen like, oh my god, it's so good, like Fight Club and like Godfather. Oh my god.
Oh, I know.
Did you ever see Snatch, Guy Ritchie? You know what that is? Like,
I do like Snatch.
that was a great movie.
But
I'm not gonna lie, it's a great movie.
They
It's a
were
great
all
movie.
on about, I don't know,
Do you like dogs?
Christopher Nolan for a while, and I was just like, and they were all rating them. They're like, this is my rating, and then they'll get on Marvel, and we'll be on Marvel for a while, and then we'll leave Marvel and
See,
we'll go
I
to
can
some other
participate
director.
in those conversations.
And I'm just like, one, I don't like top 10 lists. I don't like arranging I don't organize things in that way. And then I don't like star ratings. I don't like, oh, this is my 4 out of 5 stars. Like, I just think that that's such a simplistic way of looking at.
It doesn't allow for a lot of nuance.
Yeah. It's very like,
Because some parts of a book can be 5 stars.
yeah.
And then there can be weak points.
Yeah.
And I think we're also used to that rating system that we expect it. It's
Yeah.
like the spicy meter thing.
Yeah.
I don't want to do a spice meter
No.
because there's so many variables.
Yeah.
Right.
Right?
And people don't really need to put like, I was looking up, like, I was talking to another author about like Amazon, putting your book on Amazon, and you have to get over a certain number of ratings before they'll even feature you on anything. And you don't have any way to dispute a rating. So somebody could put a 1-star rating because they think your name is stupid, and that's it. It's there forever, being a 1-star rating on your book.
And then you're fighting against that. It's like it's like almost like you have to sell your stuff at Walmart to make any money.
Yeah.
You know, like these giant companies take over and kill indie book authors.
Yeah.
And people don't get a fair shot at, being somebody, having people read your book.
Right. You should be able to at least dispute ratings if you're going to have a rating thing at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Can they respond?
I don't think so.
So you should be able to respond. There's a lot of talk on Book Talk. I don't really pay attention to it about authors like trying to use reader spaces and take advantage of reader spaces, like where people are critiquing their books and like sharing their books and authors coming in and getting mad or like saying you can't read an early version of my book if you don't give me 4 stars. Like, there's a lot of weird stuff. I'll send you some of the...
That's interesting.
I'll send them to you so we can have a real conversation.
I know we just had a thing where somebody asked us to review a book, and I agreed to do it. And then when we were reading it, neither one of us were really clicking with it. And I was like, well, let me look up and see like how many reviews they already have. They had none, and they had no reviews. And I was like, I don't want to be the one that gives you your first review and it's a low review.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be inauthentic and give you a high review when I don't really feel like that's the review I would give it. So I wrote them and I was basically like, we have elected to not review it at this time. But like, if you want to contact us later, if you feel like you go...
Is that one person?
No,
or
this
was
is
another
one.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was like...
I thought you liked that book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We read a couple that we really liked, but this one we were just like, I just felt like they would benefit from like going over it again or having an editor look at it. But you're not paying me to do it, so I'm not going to edit it for you. I'm just going to tell you, sorry, this isn't something that I feel like we can review right now, because ultimately, if I give you a review on this, it's going to harm you.
Yeah, that's nice.
You're contacting me for self-promotion. I understand that. So this isn't going to help you. It's only going to harm you. This benefits nobody.
Yeah, and you might not be clicking. It might not be, it's just not for you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Right. Okay. You hungry? Okay.
Yeah.
Bye.
All right. Until next time, friends.
It was great to talk to you. Bye.
Is it hot in here or is it just me? Tuning in to hear these 3 chatting about fantasy novels of the spicy variety. Not your average book club if you know